really slow down to be able to talk about the nuts and bolts of genetics, to kind of contrast that with epigenetics so we can get a better appreciation for what's going on. Genetics pretty much revolves around the work of Gregor Mendel, who worked with plants, specifically pea plants, to work out how crossbreeding them by using a little paintbrush and focusing on making sure that he was controlling the genetics of individual pea plants, whether it be round or smooth, green or yellow, purple or white, depending on if you're talking about the pea itself or the flowers that are produced, tall and short. And oftentimes these get drawn into squares, Punnett squares, that we're going to use to talk about a little bit later on. But Darwin didn't know about this. When he wrote The Origin of Species, around the same time Gregor Mendel was doing his work. And it aligns with this very, very well. Even though Darwin didn't know about it, he didn't understand the mechanism of how this might actually happen. And Gregor Mendel, his work, kind of showcased this after we rediscovered it, of course. The other thing is that I want to point out that Richard Dawkins wrote The Selfish Gene, which, in my opinion, extends upon this in a certain respect to argue that genes are the ones that are being selfishly selected for. Instead of it being populations or individuals, it's actually the genes that are behaving for their best interests, if you will, if you wanted to personify genes, which we commonplace always do, even though it creates a misconception. Things aren't actually thinking in the proper sense of how you and I think, if that's even the case. But in looking at it, genes, in a certain respect, have to do with the basis of how we pass on our characteristics. And Richard Dawkins, they behave selfishly. When we think about how genetics has formed our understanding of the way the world works, we base it on probabilities in Punnett squares. And that's where I want to go tomorrow, to talk about Punnett squares specifically and start laying out how they work.